I'm going to introduce Lee Zimmerman, our board member, and he's going to introduce Rachael Sage, our keynote. She's going to do a very interesting presentation. And I hope you enjoy her. And she's a fabulous artist, and Lee's going to give her the proper formal introduction.
Formal, she says, formal. Well, it's great to see everybody. I don't know about you, I'm a little tired. I spent 3 hours listening to two musicians talk about dissonant guitar tunings last night, and it wore me out. But I did learn something new. I thought Puff Bunny was a rapper, and I was in the room, not a rapper in sight. Very strange. This is the humor, folks. A little bit of humor in the intro. Anyway, like Jill was saying, my name is Lee Zimmerman, and I'm a freelance writer and author, occasional class clown. By the way, did everybody notice the photo, the picture on the wall? See the picture on the wall back there? That's the first SERFA president right there on the wall. Set a great tradition. Anyway, it's really an honor to be able to introduce our keynote speaker here. Y'all are a very reverent group, I know. I'm a little irreverent, as you can probably tell. For example, a friend of mine went to see the presentation Wisdom from the Elders and came back and said to me, you know, Lee, you could do a presentation. I said, really? That's a compliment because, well, it's going to be a little different. So I'd like to tell you, special announcement, it's not on your schedule. Tonight at 3 a.m. in this room, irrelevant babble from an idiot. So please join me. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, seriously speaking, our keynote speaker is a very, very special individual. You know, on the way over here, I was talking with my traveling companions, and we were talking about the distance and divide that we face now, and how back in the 60s and the 70s, you know, there was such an effort to change things and make a difference. And we were saying, how do we do that? How do we do that? And we decided it's one person at a time. Every individual can be a light that shines in their communities and makes a difference. And I think that Rachael Sage is an example of that. When she walks into a room, she illuminates that room. Her music defines what it means to be human and to give promise to those that witness it. I mean, on her piano it says, I want to be alive, right? It's something like that. I want to be alive. And I think that epitomizes what this woman is all about. She's had a remarkable career. The New York Times, she started out in ballet and in drama, and the New York Times wrote about a performance that she did, saying that she alternately channels her inner Fanny Bryce and a Jewish Norah Jones. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. She's won so many awards. I mean, there's a whole list of them here, but I've been told I only have 2 minutes. But no, it's amazing. She's an artist. She's an entertainer. She's an entrepreneur. Her record label, MPress Records, is one of the leading independent labels. It's remarkable. She does all of these things, and she does them while bringing light, bringing optimism, bringing happiness. A Rachael Sage performance is like no other. You cannot leave a Rachael Sage performance without feeling uplifted and optimistic and happy. She's She's a wonderful, wonderful individual. We need more like her in the world, and it's my great pleasure to call her a friend. And right now, it's my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Rachael Sage.
Well, we may have to wait a few minutes in to get to the optimistic part, but thank you for that beautiful introduction. And it is such an honor to be here today. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I'm a first-timer, but it's a pleasure, and I've been enjoying hearing all of you sing and share your beautiful artistry. So, when I was invited to deliver a keynote around the theme of nurturing the future of music, 3 words sprang immediately to mind because they've shaped my own journey so much as an artist: heritage, purpose, and potential. I've always had a very stark understanding of my ancestors, how they left home in a hurry amidst pogroms and ongoing violence. And I also learned very young about my cousins who were taken into the woods and shot. The only remaining heirloom that survived was a Megillah scroll, chronicling the story of Queen Esther and how she cleverly freed her people by winning over the king with her beauty. I grew up looking at this antique scroll behind a glass case, a source of reflection in my parents' living room. For second-generation individuals like them, the past was a continual reminder that they must defy the odds of hatred, of rejection, and of expulsion, and that their children must carry on hard-won traditions with pride and respect. Respect for our heritage, self-respect, and respect for our dreams and future accomplishments. As a young person, I never really thought to ask, what does respect mean? But I sure as hell knew I better have it. It is undeniable that every person sitting in this room comes from a family lineage that has endured enormous struggle. It doesn't matter where you're from. I could ask for a show of hands of anyone who ever heard their parents or guardians describe some seemingly insurmountable trial their ancestors endured so that future generations could have freedoms they did not. And I bet everyone would raise their hand. Of course, when it is your story, your history, your people's struggles that continually propels you forward in the quest for something, redemption, resilience, rebirth, reconstitution, it seems like it must be more important than others. It is so real, so emotional, and so substantiated, it is almost impossible to imagine every human being is navigating as complex a narrative from the past into the present, and hopefully into the future. But as a certain saying goes, every person is a universe. And in many ways, this has always been the premise with which I was raised that drew me to the storytelling nature of acoustic singer-songwriters and to the folk community as a whole. As folk musicians, whatever the subgenre, folk pop, alt-folk, folk rock, trad, neo-folk Americana, we all understand the power of sharing our own stories or bearing witness to others, and how that can create seismic shifts in our audience's emotions, in their willingness to open up, to laugh, to be moved by empathy, to understand. It is this process of creating and sharing that creativity, whether good, bad, or ugly, or all three on a good day, that engages us, grips us, and won't let us go, and won't let us stop keeping coming back to SERFA. We instinctively know how vital it is to create, to put our own new spin on an old truism in a way that captures our unique humanity, and to encourage others to do the same. But what happens when technology becomes so adept at mimicking our soulfulness that we're no longer sure we can compete with it? What happens when the establishment barely bats an eye as entire industries fail to protect individuals' voices, bodies, ideas from being replicated shamelessly by technology? What recourse do we have now and will we have in the future to protect our value in society as artists and to instill our lives with purpose? Let's talk about purpose. When I was 5 years old, I was unceremoniously sent to sleepaway camp. It seems young to have been sent away for 8 weeks to Camp Mattapanai and entrusted to complete strangers, counselors, and staff, but that's just what they did in the 70s. When we're sent away from home for the first time, it's only natural we feel a need to summon every ounce of courage just to present ourselves to others and not feel unworthy. For me, it was always some kind of slight about my appearance. I was either too skinny, or my hair was too stringy, or my clothes were lame, or my sticker book just didn't have enough puffy stickers. Whatever it was, it became clear immediately that I was an outsider. What to do? This was obviously the worst possible thing to be, right? It would make other kids laugh at me, or worse, beat me up. It would make me the last to be picked on a sports team, the only one not told a secret joke, or worst of all, the one that everybody called a loser. A few weeks into sleepaway camp, I didn't need much help agreeing that's what I must be. Before camp, I'd been the bubbly, artsy, colorful, wise beyond her years apple of my mother's eye. After, I understood bullying, cruelty, isolation, and self-doubt. On the upside, and I promise there is one, all of these youthful challenges sprung from authority's impetus to have me blend in, just ignited my desire to create. Composing music, whether at the piano or just words with melodies in my head and jotted down on a page, seemed to have an immediate healing effect. It also seemed, at least fleetingly, to snake charm my biggest tormentors into pleasant submission. Every person I encountered, even the bullies, loved music. Playing Piano Man wasn't just a way to show off as much as a way to distract and then calm the aggressors via sing-along. I felt by second grade that I'd unlocked the secret of existence, or at least my particular sense of purpose. I would be a musician, a songwriter, and someday the songs I wrote would lift me out of being an outsider into what must be the most pleasant, innocuous opposite of it: acceptance, where everyone happily sings along. This is my buddy Dave Eggar on the cello. Everybody's looking over your shoulder. Seems I can't wait to hear what's next. Everybody's saying she's looking older. Could it be there is a cruel subtext to all this endless adulation? All this reckless fatuation. So I will stay with you tonight in case this corset gets too tight, and I will keep you company, 'cause that's what a sister should be. Oddly enough, that outsider feeling has never quite disappeared. I think in some ways it was ingrained in my DNA so early on and reinforced through the mean girl cliques in grammar school and high school that I came to nurture that part of myself through music on a daily basis. Frustrated with someone who picked on me? Write a song about it. Upset that the prettiest, most popular girl always got the lead in the play? Write a song about it. Depressed that I didn't seem to get invited to any of the cool parties or that I didn't have the perfect body to be a ballerina? I could write a song about it. Even now, if I go through something particularly difficult or painful, like my cancer experience, songwriting tends to be my most favored outlet of catharsis. I love to paint, and I like to write poetry, but writing a song, whether quickly or slowly, feels like a microcosm of life itself, the distillation of magic through sheer artistic will. Shortly before I started to write this keynote, there was a big announcement that some new AI app had just been unleashed. The headline in Billboard was something like, "How AI will alter musicianship in the future." I can't answer or predict that, obviously, but I do think it's worth reminding ourselves as a community some of the concrete ways in which we as folk musicians and storytellers can positively impact the future, starting right now. This is the part where I'd like to speak about potential. Potential used to be a dirty word to me. From the time I was playing piano melodies with just one hand, to doing pirouettes badly in the living room, the word was tossed around by the adults around me like it was some kind of lottery ticket. Either I or my parents had won, but whatever it was, it seemed I had it in every turn. In ballet, I was a weak turner, but I had good feet, so I had lots of potential. As a singer, my pitch was so-so, but I had a lot of pluck and a good stage presence, so I had lots of potential. As a songwriter, heading into my teens, innumerable managers and industry types liked my melodies, my lyrics, but constantly made comments to me like, "Young lady, you've got a lot of potential." If that isn't confusing for someone who's trying with all her might to do it, to make it, to create it right now, I don't know what is. Now that I'm a record label owner, when I see someone I believe has enormous potential, I'm hyper aware of how that observation can seem dismissive or even like a cop-out. But I do think for us today, talking about why we must continue to do what we do and evolve as living, breathing musicians in a sea of automated robot art, it's a good word to examine. If you believe, as I do, that the human spirit, the soul, if you will, has unlimited potential to delve deeper and deeper into awareness, into reflection, and ultimately some kind of peaceful transcendence, then that's a great place to start appreciating just how much the future needs all of your beautiful collective self-expression to continue and to thrive. Machines can't create new and compelling ideas as much as build existing ones. But every single person in this room has the ability to enliven, to uplift, inspire, and even assure others through their emotional intelligence, skill, and craft. And perhaps to change a heart and open a mind just a little bit. Epiphanies may not come often for most people, but for musicians like us, I think they're relatively common. At least several times at Folk Alliance conference, if not more, I have some kind of epiphany that causes me to question and re-examine my life, my behavior, my orientation to others, and most importantly, to stretch the muscles of my conscience. And so I arrive full circle, back to where this talk began. Heritage, purpose, and potential. Our individual and collective heritage, our purpose as a community, and our potential as folk artists, presenters, and supporters. We know instinctively that in a society which finds it so much easier to destroy, whether via war, environmental neglect, bigotry, or homophobia, that we in the folk community have a kind of superpower to forge understanding where otherwise there might be none, and to change someone's heart or mind where otherwise there might be a concrete wall, to unite diverse people who might otherwise be at each other's throats. If ever there was a moment where we must recognize the merit, the sacredness, the joyfulness in what we do, so that we can beam that light confidently into the future, it is now. I would not be where I am without the sacrifices my ancestors made. And this community would not be the richly diverse, abundantly expressive force it is without our foremothers and forefathers of contemporary folk music. From Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Jim Croce, to Suzanne Vega, Indigo Girls, and Tracy Chapman. I talked about respect and self-respect. I believe that these are two essential ingredients for healthy individuals and a healthy society, and they are sorely lacking in so many realms. AI can't imbibe human beings with these qualities, but you still can. I encourage all of us, myself included, to continue to work hard not only at playing our instruments and writing our best songs, but at using these tools to bridge distance, to forge genuine understanding, and to promote compassion. Some of you know this song now. I've been doing it in the showcases. Feel free to sing along. In the hull of my darkness, in the lull of my light, in the shroud of my solace, I hear fight, fight, fight. In the sound of my breathing, there's a soft singing bowl. In the grasp of my grieving, I hear groan, groan, groan. There's a time for reflection. There's a time for pain. There's a time for letting go. There's a time to let the rain fall down on the revelation ground, on the revelation ground. In the scene on the movie screen, there's a message of love. It's a season for listening to the quiet cooing dove. In the scene on the Instagram, there's a message of hope. It's a season for listening to time's stethoscope. There's a time for reflection. There's a time for pain. There's a time for letting go. There's a time to let the rain fall. Time to let the rain fall down on the revelation ground, on the revelation. Can you guys sing that along with us?
Thank you.
In my view, we are at the mere beginning of a neo-folk renaissance where artists like Brandi Carlile and Allison Russell are more refreshing than ever because the irreplaceable human element of empathy we naturally crave is becoming all the more rare in our mainstream midst. AI can't replicate it, but you and I can create and reignite it. Ani DiFranco is lighting up Broadway in a lead role created by our own beloved folkie, Anais Mitchell. 20 years ago, she wrote these songs sparked by a Greek myth and made them relevant once more. What a moment to take stock, honor, regroup, and reinvent as members of this community, with abundant examples of fiercely powerful messengers to light the way. This is a photo of my grandmother. I never met her because she passed away from cancer, but I was lovingly named after her. As she tucked me in as a little girl beneath a colorful afghan my grandmother had crocheted herself, my mother used to tell me, "Honey, you have her hands, her eccentricity, and her ability to make beautiful things." If she'd been alive today, had an education and the means, she could have been a very successful artist. My mother doesn't sound anything like that. As I forge into the future, I like to think in my own small, eccentric, singer-songwriterly way, I'm making my grandmother proud, fulfilling my purpose, fueled by her unfulfilled potential. Let us all continue to dig deep, question everything, live proudly, practice diligently, and maybe, just maybe, you can summon your ancestors to fulfill your purpose, to achieve your potential, which can, in a very substantive way, help to save our world.
It's not a keynote speech unless you get a little bit verklempt, right?
In time, I will make love mine. I will subvert shame and all indecision. You say you are impatient, like a sick patient from doubt's deep incision. I've been in the garden of evil and good, hoping you would find me in the underwood. My future was a fire I could not breathe, burning like a soldier's grief. Meet me in the valley of eventually. I'll be on the bank by the walnut tree. Hope you will be with me. 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 Can you guys sing that along with us? I hope you will be with me. Hope you will be with me. I hope you will be with me. 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 Hope you will be with me.
Thank you so much.